Hi everybody! Hi Tamar!
Before we start, we want to thank our new patrons. Like we said, we have a goal reaching at least 2,000 patrons by the end of the season.
To be able to keep going.
To be able, to keep on going for the rest of the eternity.
Okay, so today we want to talk about Jon's and Daenerys' way of operating in the political world and analyze it through the work The Prince by Machiavelli, specifically Jon's decision to pardon the remaining Karstark and the remaining Umber, and deciding to leave the north and go to Dragonstone to meet Daenerys, and Daenerys' decision not to attack King's Landing now with all her might, but rather try to lay siege and something of the sort. So what would Machiavelli have to say about those two decisions?
He would probably say, because he was Italian.
That's racist.
Machiavelli, in this monumental book, The Prince, specifically, episode 17, על אכזריות ורחמים, ואם מוטב לאדם שיאהבוהו או שיראוהו מפניו.
That's Italian?
No. Is it better to be loved or feared? For the prince.
Right, for the ruler, which is what Olenna was talking about to Daenerys.
Yeah.
She says it's better to be feared.
Why? Olenna took a page out of Machiavelli, paraphrased him a little bit about the people. She says the lords, she meant the people, they are sheep. Relying on the people is like building on mud. He says that.
So you have to be cruel.
You have to be cruel in a certain way, but the Machiavellian style, the Machiavellian attitude is not, in no circumstances, be seen as cruel.
Right.
Tough, yeah, not cruel. Even if you don't have to have the virtue that the ancient Romans, and specifically Cicero, talked about it as like, the ruler needs to be virtuous, and like Marcus Aurelius, this emperor, enlightened emperor, he said, no, being virtuous is not important. Being perceived as virtuous, that's the important part. Daenerys and Jon, they fall under the category of the Machiavelli analysis of new princes. He has a different kind of persons there. His guidebook is for a different kind of princes, one that already have the power, one that wants to become, and like new players basically, and new princes. Both Daenerys and Jon are prince that was promised.
Ooh, boom, 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 boom. Support us on Patreon.
And his advice for a new prince is to start with his fist like that, which means be cruel to a certain extent, and later, when you're already perceived as cruel, you can loosen a bit your fist.
Because if you start off without being cruel, what are the dangers in that?
Because, as like a guideline, people will search to replace you if you're in power. If you're too merciful, then they can have like this, okay, you're too merciful, we can, do what we want. And when you take a step back and say, okay, I was too merciful, now I'll be cruel, that's even worse.
Right, because people got used to something.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's check that. Let's go to Jon. First of all, he was merciful to Littlefinger.
Yes.
He told Littlefinger, if you do something, if you touch my sister, then I will kill you. So if this is your way of thinking, you should kill him. And he says, okay, this guy is weak. I have the room to maneuver and do whatever I want. He left the Sansa here for me. So that was a wrong decision. And Daenerys, she had discord and disagreements in her camp. And now one camp was right, the other camp was wrong. They will tell her the camp that wanted to attack King's Landing, they will tell her, come on, you should have done what we told you to do. So it has weakened both Daenerys and Jon.
Daenerys
that they started off
has an history of that even before that. She started cruel, basically.
with the masters.
Right. And then when they had all the problems and turmoil in Marine, she became softer. She reopened the pits and whatever.
Right, she married his daughter.
And you saw what the consequences of that.
Right, so she didn't do it gradually. She was like, okay, I'm cruel, okay, so let's just flip it.
She was like, and then like, I'm sorry, and then...
You have to be smart, you have to be smart about it and not be too cruel, because then, also Machiavelli warns, if you are hated, that's the worst thing to be. Under no circumstances can you allow yourself to be hated.
Yeah. Jon, and pardoning the Karstarks and the Umbers, in the Machiavellian style, maybe that was too soft.
Right.
and too merciful, and it can create problems.
And Littlefinger, of course, is a Machiavellian character, and he's already thinking and scheming how to use the Machiavellian handbook in order to gain power at the expense of Jon. Okay, but what does Machiavelli say about being maybe both loved and feared? Wouldn't that be better?
You can need to analyze them both as a political tool towards your subject.
Okay.
Then love is something that is active, that comes from the people.
Right.
The people need to give you that.
Right.
And fear is a passive thing. They don't need to give you fear. You give them fear. So you have more control on the latter, the fear, than love.
Also, he says about love that people tend more to love you when life-threatening danger is far away, and when it's closer, then they are less dependable because, of course, he saw the worst in human beings because of his own history, personal experience.
Yeah. Jon, we should remember that Jon wasn't selected to be king because of the White Walkers. If you look at that, if you analyze it, he was selected to be king because he's a Stark. And if he uses the Machiavelli as a guidebook, he's not good at instilling this fear of the enemy in his subjects. He's really, really bad at this because he don't care. It seems like he don't care. I didn't want to be a king, I didn't want to be a prince.
If they feared the White Walkers the way he feared the White Walkers, they would make no problems and they would say, okay, you're right.
Yeah.
This is right, this is what we need to do. But it's as if they're more at war with Daenerys and with Cersei than with the White Walkers.
Yeah, they didn't say in their King's Moot, whatever, when he was elected last season, they didn't say, the White Walkers are here, we need a champion. No, they said, you are a Stark, we follow only a Northerner Stark, whatever.
We're sorry that we didn't follow you.
King in the North. And he's like, I just wanted to defeat some White Walkers. On the contrary, Daenerys seems to be too much involved with the love part of ruling. She has her fear covered with 3 dragons.
And her entourage loves her, unlike Jon's entourage. They're all super devoted.
Yeah. It's very personal for her. Her top soldier even slept with her.
Right.
And she started the whole thing with marrying to the Horde, to the Dothraki Horde. So love plays a lot of parts. So when Tyrion said, wait, you can be ruled on ashes and bones if you can, but they won't love you. She was like, okay, I want to be loved. I mean, love is important for me as a tool, as gaining my principality, And the love is like Jon fear is very far from his subject. It's like something beyond the wall. The love of the Westerosi towards her is very far.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
For now, right.
Yeah.
Another thing that they have in common, one of our viewers sent me that. Not only Jon forgave and gave clemency to 2 traitors, Daenerys also did the same. She told Varys, you betrayed me, you tried to kill me, but I give you clemency.
You know why? Because he chose her. So that's why it's saying something about the
He doesn't fear her.
Yeah, it says something about the Machiavelli truth, about love being something active.
Yes.
That Varys needs to love her.
Right, and Tyrion also chose her last season. But we can look at the whole thing from another point of view. Our executive producer Hassan Hayam and we talked about it. Okay, he said that there are historical precedents. Frederick the Great, for instance, from Germany, right?
Prussia.
He said that virtue and ideals are the core aspects of a true monarch, and that those 2 aspects will bring you true power and happiness. And also he wrote some kind of book that is specifically anti-Machiavellian, right?
But I think the Frederick the Great book was more in the genre of Thomas More's Utopia. It's more to the line of Utopia, what should be. Machiavelli doesn't care about what should be. He says that this is the way it is.
Okay, so to that point, 2 things. First of all, people think that we're too hard on Jon, and maybe we haven't been communicating what we really feel in a good way. Basically, we're hard on him because he's right. He's right. He's on the right. He knows what needs to be done better than any other character. So we just want him to do a better job in getting where he wants to get. And also because
Kit Harington.
And also, and maybe the fact that we assume that this is the way the world is, and men are horrible, and they will betray you in every way. that actually creates that reality. Because if you would have a different leader that will lead with different values and instill those values, then you make progress, social progress. Today, I would prefer a leader not to be Machiavellian in the amoral sense, just use the tools in order to advance the morals and the values of the time, which are good values.
I think Machiavelli would like that too, actually.
Right, and basically you can say that his view of people was clouded by his own experience, being jailed and tortured and losing his job and being friendless.
And history as well.
Unemployed. In Greenland! In Greenland! Also, to Hassan's point, he said, could Machiavelli unite the North better to face the White Walkers than Jon? Because if you look at the two biggest Machiavellian characters in the story, Tywin died, his son killed him. Littlefinger, we think he will die. So also maybe George R. R. Martin, he's a big Machiavelli fan, but maybe he's saying to us, this is not 100% the right way. Maybe you should find a balance between those two.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe, okay, balance is always good.
So let's use all that to make a bold prediction. Specifically about Daenerys, I have one. First, she wanted to be merciful. It didn't work. Now she will say, okay, I'll be cruel. Come with our dragons. That will not work either. So she will lose on both. She won't be able to use these tools to her advantage.
Yeah, I think Jon as well. As a prince, I don't think he acts like a prince. He acts like a general. And the people below him, they're his soldiers, basically. And soldiers supposed to follow you blindly because you know the mission. And they don't know the mission.
Okay, so Jon is who he is. But Sansa, she has a choice. She can use her Machiavellian instincts in order to empower Jon and help him. But she's also encumbered from her own experiences, thinking that everybody's a liar. She has to lie. She has to manipulate in order to survive. So I think she's in the wrong here. That's me.
Bottom line, I think both princes that was princes, they won't be princes.
Okay.
I think that, if it was a regular fantasy, then you can base your entire ruling on some external enemy or a birthright whatever, but not in this story.
Okay, so what do you think? Be sure to mention in the comments. Hit like, we want this video to get to 5,000 likes if that's possible, so more people will see it. And watch our previous videos about Season 7. Subscribe to get all our content. Thanks for watching. We'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.